Welcome back to another episode of Kate and Isaiah Living Large. I'm Isaiah.
And I'm Kate.
Oh my goodness, you've been traveling so much you forgot your name.
Yeah.
And on this episode, we are going to talk about patterns of the Wayback Machine.
Yeah.
AKA looking back at our lives and some things that may be patterns that continue to this day. Yeah. But before we get into it, you have been traveling like crazy, doing your comedy tour. How's it been?
It's been great. Actually, I'm coming off one of the best weekends of my entire life. If I'm being 100% honest, like I went to the Dooryard Arts Festival, performed there on Thursday night, brought a comedy show to the Dooryard Arts Festival, and I helped found the Dooryard Arts Festival in 2009. So there's a few things about it. And I think I talked about Dooryard last summer when I went as well, but like I don't have children, and it is one of the things I am most proud of my entire life, that I had a hand in the beginning of the early days of that festival. It was a real labor of love. We couldn't afford security our first 2 years, so I slept on the stage to make sure that nothing bad happened. I was drunk, so I was really
great security,
but nothing happened, so it all worked out. But like the memories of sleeping on a stage when I'm in my mid-20s and all of those things, and it's like I see so many people that I love and care deeply about when I go there, and it's like, you know, you stay in touch with friends and stuff, but it's the extra people that you just knew out and about in a small town that you get to see all in one awesome place, seeing awesome music, and then combine that with the new passion of comedy. I will tell you, I was probably the most nervous I've been for a show leading up. I was trying to talk to people on Thursday, and I was like, I don't know what's wrong with me. I couldn't do anything properly. So I ended up going to the venue super early and having a couple of beer. The venue was Cross Creek, where you and I went last year.
Good old Cross Creek.
We went on a little road tour and had a ball there. And she recognized me from when I was there a year ago.
Nice.
I'm like, you know what? Either I'm something else, which I'm not, or that's just the nature of a small town and a great brewery. So like, she's like, you're Caitlin, right? You were here last summer. I was
nice.
Like, I was. And the show went great, and the comics had a good time. The people there had a good time. And then to experience the rest of the festival was just magic. And then I left the festival a day early to come do a show last night at the Crystal Beach campground.
Ooh-wee.
And we had a hell of a show. It was a long show, but it was a great lineup. I hosted the second half, and that was super fun. And had some great people, like, spend that kind of time and energy and do all these things in one place and then see it all pay off and audiences enjoy. And then I had the privilege of sleeping in my car.
That's always a good sign. Sleeping in your car.
I woke up at 10 o'clock this morning to a message from Isaiah saying, can we record at 10 o'clock tonight? And I was like, no, we cannot. I am going to definitely be sleeping.
So we are recording at like 1 o'clock.
How about you, Isaiah? What's going on with you?
Oh my goodness. Well, you bring back memories of Crystal Beach. I don't think I've been to Crystal Beach since I was in middle school. On like cuff day in middle school,
you had a cuff day in middle school?
Yeah, it was like the grade 8, all the grade 8ers like left school, and we all walked down to the ferry and got on the ferry and walked to Crystal Beach.
That's hilarious.
On like one of the last days of school. I remember that.
That's so funny. I never cuffed school ever until the end of grade 12. It was like a physics class where we were watching a movie, and I went up to the teacher and I said, excuse me, Mr. Reynolds, I feel like I haven't had the full high school experience. So do you think it would be okay if I skipped your class today? And he just looked at me and was like,
that's not cuffing then. That is permission to leave.
I actually what we're going to talk about, I'll fast track. I'll give you a little preview of it. I came across some old journals, and we'll get into that in a second. But one of the lines in it, then the one that I submitted to my grade 6 teacher, was like, I'm not really sure what's going to happen when I go to high school. I was thinking about what you said. I'm really worried that I'm going to fall in with the wrong crowd.
Well,
and that I won't be like I am today. And even the teacher was like, he wrote a comment. It was the only comment in the whole book where he's like, you're way too smart for that. I don't think you have to worry. He was right.
But yeah, no, I've been to Crystal Beach since like middle school. That's crazy. Other than that, I mean, it's been really hot lately, so I haven't really done a whole lot. My aunt and uncle are up from St. Louis, so I got to see them this past week, which was awesome.
That's awesome.
We haven't seen them since pre-COVID.
Oh, that's great. Is that why they brought the heat?
Yeah. So I was super excited to see them. I think they leave tomorrow or the next day to go back to St. Louis. They drive up, so it's like a 3 to 4 day drive.
Oh, that's awesome though. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, super excited.
Have you ever gone down to see them?
No, I have not yet. I keep planning to, keep wanting to. I just never get around to it. There's just so much. Other than that, not a whole lot this week. Got my plane tickets to Toronto, which
that's so exciting.
Can you listen? So I need to rant a little bit about plane tickets. So I want to fly to St. John. Perfect.
No,
you can't. Well, you can if you want to leave at like 5 o'clock in the morning or like 10 o'clock at night, and neither of those are ideal to me. And then to get home, you got to fly out there was no later than 5 o'clock in the morning to fly back to St. John. And both are in and out of Pearson. And I am super annoyed with that. So I'm flying Porter. Cheaper. It was like $200 cheaper to fly Porter out of Fredericton and fly into Billy Bishop. Like, anyway.
You'll spend that in gas.
Well, if I drove.
Are you getting to Fredericton?
Oh, yeah. Well, I guess yeah. No, that's not that much in gas. Come on now.
Not in your car. It's close to that line.
My parents are going to drive us, actually.
Oh, nice.
We're going to someone's going to come and take care of our cat. And we're going to let them use our car.
Oh, nice. Yeah. You aren't looking at me like I'm doing that, right?
No. Oh, by the way.
Your cat doesn't even like me. Cat used to like me when she was 1 pound, but now she runs away when I walk in.
But I'm super excited that Toronto trip's in like just over 2 weeks now.
That's exciting.
Yeah, super excited.
We'll have to add a recording day next week, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't know why I'm doing business while we're doing the real podcast.
But let's get to our topic. So you were stumbling through your mess of stuff.
Okay, so been a little busy lately. We'll pretend that's the reason. And actually, I'm going to walk this back one step further. So in no way am I diagnosing myself with anything. I'm not crazy. Like, I listen to TikTok and think I have this or I'm whatever. However, I have been reading some various lists and things like that with symptoms of ADD and ADHD in women and how those symptoms present differently in women and men.
Yep.
Because growing up, I would have never thought I had ADHD because, well, one, I was lazy, but I could easily sit quietly. That was no big deal. I didn't have to bounce around or anything like that. And that was a lot of what the boys that I knew who had ADHD were like. And so I knew I wasn't like that. And I was like, well, didn't even consider it as a possibility. So now when you kind of read about it a little bit, and again, not diagnosed, and I don't even know if it's worth getting diagnosed because what am I going to do about it?
Take pills?
But why? I have I have a reasonably functional life.
Yeah.
So if it's functional life, not really much point in doing anything, but it's good to identify some patterns of behavior. So one of those things is a history of being a little bit messy. And oftentimes it's because I don't really see the mess until it's overwhelming. And then I'm like, ooh. So fast forward to this weekend, I was going away and I was coming back on Saturday. And my friend messaged me from Halifax, and I had picked up a pair of sunglasses from her from local store In Pursuit, which is a great store. You should check it out. And had kept them safe for her for the last several months. And she was coming to visit. She's like, don't forget about my sunglasses. And I had a moment of panic. I was like, where did I put those? I know I put them somewhere safe. Somewhere safe.
Signs of ADD number one.
But I didn't know where that somewhere safe was because my life kind of exists in piles. And
signs of ADD number two.
yeah. I was joking around, quote unquote, that I kind of have to do like a hurdles exercise to get from my front door to the couch. I live in a 650 square foot condo. There shouldn't be piles, but there are. And so I was started to like an archaeologist dig back the layers. And one of the layers was my memory box that I had taken down because I was looking for my university diploma a few weeks ago, which I still haven't found. Number 3, if we're keeping count. Unable to finish tasks that only directly impact that person. Ding. And so I'm digging through and I found a box of journals, like 8 journals from my youth. And I was like, oh, this seems like a productive thing to do when I haven't slept more than 2 hours a night in the last 3 days.
And you're looking for something.
I'm looking for something else that I have a limited amount of time to find, but I'm going to read all of my journals.
I think that's sign number 4.
Yeah. So then I start reading them and they're hilarious, for one, but not intentionally like I am today. And there were a couple of running themes. One, the only one that had more than 4 or 5 entries was the one that I did for school.
Yeah.
These range in age from like grade 6 to grade 11 or so, but there's only like 6 or 7 journals, each of them with maybe 4 or 5 pages used.
See, that would be my problem with journaling too, is I could not take the time to like jot down first of all, I can't gather my thoughts half the time. So like jotting down my thoughts in a journal, I don't think that would work out for me.
Well, me neither. And hilariously, I'm a writer and I have maintained blogs in the past, but other people read them.
Right.
I have had
therefore
other people, people pleasing, etc. Classic. So then I'm piecing through them and there's 3 notable things that happen in each one of them. 1, can't finish one. Sign number, whatever count we're at now.
Keep count.
2, yeah, I've lost count. It's gone now. Number 18. 2, I'm freaking boy crazy.
Well,
and still am. I like was reading this and I was like, oh, I've had this very conversation recently with Isaiah.
Yep.
And he's like very polite about it, but I know he doesn't care.
You were a little boy crazy, but I mean, I get it. Like, it happens.
And not just boy crazy, like dating people and like talking about it in the actual issues, but like severe crushes and potentially unrequited love situations. But at least in junior high school, that's what they were. Now I'm too chicken to deal with any of this. So I'm like a 13 or 14. I'm like exactly who I was reading in the journal. I'm 15 years old going, I wonder if he likes me.
You're so Shakespearean.
Ugh, it's so painful. When I was reading it, I was like, oh, this is rough. And then the third one, which relates back to the podcast, is, oh, well, I have some problems. I'm overweight and like that kind of sucks and should do something about it. And, oh, I started working out today, worked out again today. Haven't worked out in a while. And I'm like, was I exactly the same person at 13 as I am now at 41? I don't know. Have you ever had those moments? I know you're not a journaler, but have you ever had those moments?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're all always kind of in a loop. I know that I do definitely go in like the loops of, and this is going to my ADHD, of I get really intense on something, and that's my hobby, and I am like go all out, buy everything for that hobby, and then okay, next thing.
Thank you for our podcast, by the way.
That dopamine hit is gone. I'm moving on to the next thing.
But do you have the people pleasing tendencies as well?
No, me? People pleaser?
yeah, I know you do.
No.
That was a loaded question because I absolutely know that he does. I bet you if either one of us had started this podcast without the other, it would definitely be over by now. And I bet you it's almost been over on both of our parts more than once, but neither of us will let the other down.
Because we're both people pleasers.
Yeah. And then I think we like it. We're not saying we don't like it.
No.
But that's like, we get overwhelmed, must reduce things. Podcast, no, but I can't do that to Isaiah. I'm sure you've done the same thing. Am I right?
Listen, I don't have the crazy schedule like you do. You have an insane schedule. Listen, that's the problem with you. You have too much on the go.
Well, it's because I have so many interests. ADHD symptom number. and I know I'm kind of half joking about it, but if I got diagnosed, I truly would not be surprised if it was a positive diagnosis.
Yeah. I mean, so Andrea just actually got diagnosed.
Oh, are you serious?
Yeah.
That's wild.
So she,
Andrea, your wife, for anybody who
my
doesn't
wife,
know.
yes. We both had to fill out a sheet and hand over the doctor, and yeah, she was diagnosed a couple weeks ago.
That's
yeah.
Like both of us, and like I would say akin to me, she's a person that develops interest, goes full throttle, and then look at her amazing art projects.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
But it's all stuff like, let's do it for a window and then tear it down and do something else.
Yep.
Tear it down, do something else.
100%.
Yeah. And amazing. Like, and this comes back to, I think you need all kinds of people in the world, because if you didn't have anxious people with ADHD, some stuff would never get done.
Right. And then this kind of, I think that goes into the what you're talking about is the journaling of the same repeated things. Is it may be a factor in that repeated thing, right? Is
right
that you find that dopamine hit and then it goes away, and so you try and find that dopamine hit, and sometimes that dopamine hit happens to be something you did 3 times down the road and you're back to it, right?
And yeah, and sometimes, like, I also was thinking of how that relates to how I've handled weight loss and eating and things like that in the past as well. Sometimes I'm looking for the path of least resistance.
Mm-hmm. And eating is a huge dopamine hit. Like, unless you don't like food, which, I mean, some people just eat to eat, but I mean, that eating is a dopamine hit, finding a good food. And I mean, sugar itself is like built to give you dopamine. So like that has a factor in it, right?
There have been instances in my childhood that I'm sure I mentioned before of me, like, us not having any sweets in the house and me finding some icing sugar and dumping it down my gullet straight from the bag. Right. Gross.
But that's that dopamine. That's that hunt for that dopamine hit.
That's my white powder.
So that definitely is a factor, and I definitely have it too, right? Like, I go to the gym, I get in, I start working as hard as I can, and then something comes up and I don't go for like a week, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I gotta get back to the gym, and I off and off. The next thing I know, I haven't gone to the gym in like a month, and I'm like, okay. And then I go back and I love going to the gym, and then, repeat. And that's repeat.
Same. And that's why classes have always worked well for me, because I don't want to let the people in the classes down. And like, it's so wild to analyze this. And it kind of makes me wonder, like, what do I try to work against who I am, or do I find the things that work within that?
Yeah. I mean, I think you have to I think you need to find a person that can look at it from a different angle.
Right. Like a boy? I'm just joking.
Not quite.
Like a man. I'm not like still interested in teenage boys for the record.
I hope not.
That's gross.
Elsa's podcast is over.
Yeah, good. I should go to jail.
Probably.
But no.
But I think, yeah, I don't think it's necessarily working against who you are. I think it's having someone else that is you're truly accountable to. Yeah. Right. And not necessarily like me in the podcast, but like a coach. That's probably what coaches.
I've gone to individual coaches though, and that is another thing that's worked. I will do something very well and follow every rule for 6 weeks or 2 months or 3 months or whatever.
But then dopamine goes away.
And then it just slips, no matter who it is, no matter what I'm doing, except the things that have traditionally worked until some other inciting force has intervened have been regular classes. When I've developed a group within the gym. So it doesn't work as well when it's a person that I've like, let's go to the gym together and be accountable to each other.
Yeah.
Although that was part of it with the last good successful run, but it was when it was part of the overall fold. We should have Katie on the podcast again sometime, by the way. She's a frequent listener and just a brilliant person to be around. Anyway, and great driver on the day of the 5K. I've discovered that, and it took me 38 years to discover that's what works. And then a damn pandemic ruined it the first time, and the second time commuting to Fredericton ruined it.
Yeah, for sure. And I think for me, it's been like I talked about before. I always was into sports, just doing football, doing rugby, swimming all the time, and that was just a frequent thing that I did because it's a team. There was team things. It was fun to do, and so when I left that kind of world, it was continue eating the same way. It kind of doesn't work out for you that well, and trying to find that thing, especially in our age, it's kind of like, what do you do? And I don't personally can't do a gym class. That's not me. But like, if I could find a, like, I don't know, flag football, I keep looking at flag football. Like, that's kind of what entices me, but I don't know if I can dedicate the time.
You know, you never know until you try. And I know that as people pleasers, it's hard to think like, I don't want to commit to something and not be a good team member.
Yes.
But when you join things as an adult, most people understand that we're adults now and that we've got full plates and literally and figuratively, and that, you know, there's going to be I almost said rehearsals here and there, but
missed practices, missed games,
and things like that. And anything's worth trying.
Yeah, I mean, I keep looking at them, and I know that they're coming up soon for registration for them again. I just haven't been able to pull that trigger.
I used to feel that way about soccer because I played all through my youth and got to be a decent enough player. I played on the school team and stuff. I played goalie. And then I went to get back into it, like a mixed men-women soccer league indoor, and I'd never played indoor.
Yeah.
Okay, playing goalie and indoor soccer with men, they kick the ball way too hard and fast. And I also never wore glasses before when I played soccer, and I do now.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is just a recipe for disaster. I can't do this. This ball comes way too fast. But I at least took the step to like investigate and be like, okay, soccer's not a thing that's going to work for me anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I just got to pull the trigger because I know that they play down here in Shamrock Park.
That's close.
And it's really close. It's like walking distance.
You're in like the hub of like activity for working up between the Y and Shamrock Park.
I know, right? And here I am. I hope the summer is still nice for the rest of the summer, though. Can't wish it away.
No, it's been thank God we live in St. John, though. Spending time in Fredericton every day and then Woodstock on Thursday and Friday when I felt like I couldn't get a respite. I'm pretty sure that I got heat stroke. Oh, and I was, because my friend Jeff and I were like, we sat downtown Woodstock for a bit in the hot sun. Ugh. And just chatted. But it was also super fun because people would drive by and hug and be like, oh, Caitlin. And I don't hate that. And stop in the street and be like, oh, it's so good to see you and stuff like that. So we held court for a couple hours and then we just spent more and more time getting in the sun. And then I was like, I am so tired. I feel like I can't do anything. Oh my God. And I was like sitting at the festival and it was the last night I was going to be there and I didn't want to miss it, but I just wanted to go to sleep. And then the minute the sun came down, I was up, I was dancing. I was like, oh, heat stroke gone.
Gone. Nice.
So I'm blessed to live in the foggy city of St. John, New Brunswick.
Oh my goodness. Yes. So do you have anything coming up that you're doing?
I've got a Riverview show on the 26th. I don't even know what date it is. That's next Friday, I think. This coming Friday?
Who knows?
I don't know. What is time? What is life?
It is so timey-wimey wiggly thing.
Yeah. And then, so I've got that coming up. I have a couple of, I'm doing a show in Fredericton, Rustico on September 9th, and I'm sure other stuff will pop up.
Oh my goodness.
What about, and I have a couple of great band concerts coming up, August 8th, I believe, Friday night at Reed's Point Pub on Kingston Peninsula. And then we're also doing a Tuesday night in August, I forget the date, at the Shanex. I'm playing at the Parkland in the Valley.
Ooh. And where can people find you on the internet?
What about you? Do you have other stuff? Do you have stuff to plug?
I don't have anything to plug right now. I mean, I am kind of on a lull of everything at the moment. It's just kind of waiting for that trip in August to come and roll around.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me at Caitlin Dean on Facebook, the Caitlin Dean on Twitter. Kate and Isaiah Living Large on Facebook. I wasn't going to plug that one. How about you?
At Maritime Brews on all of these social medias.
Nice.
Yeah. And of course, you can also donate so we can try and get a lovely camera to replace my phone that we currently use. And that donation will be buy me a coffee. The QR code will be somewhere up here in the video if you are watching, and in our description below. And of course, if you are listening on Spotify, on Podbean, Apple Music, wherever you listen to, you can also catch us on YouTube. And if you are listening on YouTube, if you can like, share, subscribe,
smash that button.
Smash that notification button and comment. Let us know what if you find yourself in any routines, constantly flipping back and forth.
Or if you're a psychologist who wants to weigh in on this and how it relates to weight.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
Oh my goodness. Or if you want to come on the podcast. But until next week, bye.